What's up, everybody? It's Mr. Raven on ESO Daily. But guess what? I am not in ESO. If I can get my system up here, hit the record. I'm in Rift, and okay. I have console players who believe they're parsing on a console. I'm getting messages from this troll who follows me, and I got his guild who are trolls who think they're elitist, who believe that it actually. Okay, parsing in ESO. Okay, first off, ZOS is against group parsers, and I understand why. Because if people really knew and broke down the actual numbers, that means race, class, rotation. This, take your build in rotation. Just on the premise of class and race alone, shit would hit the fan. They'd have a lot of problems. So they're never going to implement or allow a group parser in ZOS, in Elder Scrolls. ZOS is never going to allow it. As you're going to see up here on the right-hand corner, this is what we, as in MMOers, call a parser, right? Now, I have a combat log, which is what console players are using to calculate a parse. Okay, I'm going to repeat that, PC players. Console players are trying to use the target dummies to figure out their parse. It's actually fucking hilarious because even if you pull up a combat log, it don't mean shit to a parse. It means nothing. But I'm going to go over here. I'm going to show you guys what a real parser looks like because the only parser I'm finding for Elder Scrolls, and if anybody wants to go ahead and link optional parsers, is literally outdated for one. And two, it doesn't break down any percentages of your crit. You can't calculate static. To me, like, it's so hilarious. It's funny as hell. It's like whatever. I'll just get into it. So I'm just gonna go ahead, make sure my buffs are up. I'm gonna throw down my rotation. Now, as you guys are seeing, we're getting a couple numbers. I'll break this down for you. And as you can see, there's the combat log. Now, we don't do this in Rift. We don't parse for damage. Most of the time, we work on this for just macroing. Okay. Alright, want to stop it. We're hitting up to about 5 mil a second. Okay, that's what that number is. That's 5.182 mil a second. Right? Over here is base without the crit effect. Right? So, guys, this is a parser. That's what a parser does. It calculates the damage per second. That's what it is. Now, if I'm in a group, I'll actually get percentage of who's dealing the most damage. It'll break it down by percentage. Like I'm dealing 25%, somebody's dealing 22% damage versus the equivalent. This is Rift meter. You can use simple meter on Rift. King Boss mod, which I have the mod for when I did trials, raids in this game. This is what a parser looks like. This is, if you played World of Warcraft, EverQuest 2, like really hardcore MMOs, we all know what a real parser looks like. Not a test dummy. That's a parser. Right? I don't have to go ahead. The skeletons have an X amount of life. You're down there with a timer, a manual timer, timing it, and then you're dividing it, and oh, I'm parsing this much. That's not an accurate parse. That's why we use parsers on PCs, okay? Because we're actually getting the accurate number for the parse. We're breaking it down. I can even go here. I can click on this. I can go to specific layouts of my entire parse. That's what a parser is. All right. I mean, seriously. I mean, it's hilarious. Is what it is. It's freaking hilarious. But yeah, that's a parser. Elder Scrolls is never going to allow a group parser. It's never going to happen. I kind of wish they would at times. But then in a way I don't, because this is why I went to Elder Scrolls. I kind of wanted a little bit of fresh air from the monotony of having to be X. You have to have a percentage of a percentage. You got to have this, you got to have that. I was a person, I did all those calculations. I was that dick. And I'm glad I'm just not having to do that no more. And it's refreshing. To all these elite players, I mean, seriously, if you guys can give me an actual detailed parser for Elder Scrolls, I would love to see it. I would love it. Only thing I'm seeing is a meter. Just a meter. To me, it doesn't do the breakdowns or whatever. I'm not getting a percentage. It's not deducting my crit values. It's not giving me a static number. To take that into effect. So, whatever. But, yeah, that's a parser. I haven't seen anything like an actual parser in ESO yet. I imagine there are, people who would love to put it out there. They may have it. I haven't found one yet. That's an actual parser by my standards. Target dummies, test dummies. They're great. You can, get an idea of what you're dealing in damage. You can. That's not a parser. It's not a flipping parser. Okay? This is a parser. This tells me how long my parse was. This gives me my average prior to crit. If you look, 73.82. My crit equivalent per second is 5.182 mil. This is a parser, guys. That's a real parser. That's what a parser looks like. It tells me very much all the details. Then I can extrapolate these numbers to configure the average for a raid group. So I can extrapolate that depending on what set I'm wearing. If I'm wearing a tier 2, a tier 3 set, whatever. What's your average to your rotation? I can extrapolate this from a parser. So that's how hardcore elitists typically do it. Not like on a test dummy, burn down a dummy on and then try to manually calculate, and they're on a console and you're like, oh, I'm parsing this. You don't know that. You do not know that. Show me the parser. Show me the parser. That's what I want to see. I want to see this. I want to see that. I want to see your parser. You can say all you like, unless it actually spits out the exact percentage of numbers, the amount that you parsed, the average, your average, your base, then you can extrapolate the crit percentage difference. That don't mean shit. It don't mean a fucking thing. It doesn't mean shit. All right, guys? It just doesn't. It's not even close to being what, as an MMOer calls a parse. So, and ZOS, they gave us target dummies. Everybody's like, why aren't you big on target dummies? It's what it is. It's a dummy. It's a flipping dummy. You guys even have it so much easier in this game than so many other MMOs. You guys don't know what it. Some players know. If you came from World of Warcraft, you went into, Karazhan, and you were in there for like 2 months farming gear just to get up to the next tier, you know the pain. You know the real effect of what it takes to be, a dungeon dweller. Let's talk about AQ20. Hell, put in Molten Core back in the day. Let's talk about Rift, River of Souls, going from there to Hammernail. Seriously, guys, River of Souls was, the stepping stone to get to Hammernail, right? Greenscale, when we were taking a look at Lathis and all of that. I'm telling you guys, these guys, they don't know what it's like to have a 40-man, a 20-man raid for hours, not an hour. Get over it. I mean, hours. So, ESO's good content. It does really good. But it's not hardcore like that. It shouldn't be. Stop trying to be elite, guys, especially console players. Just stop trying to do that. That's just, it makes you look dumb. When you're trying to say that I'm parsing this as a console player, you look dumb to an actual MMOer who's been actually on multiple parsers. You look dumb. I know people are going to be like, well, you look dumb for saying this. I'm not trying to be. I'm just trying to point out parsing has its applications, but in Elder Scrolls, I don't think it's really that big of a deal. I really don't. I can't see it. I'm working on getting my test dummy to show a couple of different variables in the CP and the fluctuations, percentages. Trying to break the little things down, but I don't really care. But yeah, for the console players, PC players, you watch the posts start flying down my page. Some of them are blocked. Some of them might be able to get through. I'm hoping a few get through. Just so you can see these people saying, I'm parsing. No, you're not. You're not parsing. You're hitting a dummy trying to burn it down in X amount of time, and you're trying to extrapolate the amount of damage based on that time. That's not an actual parse. Parse is, a computer program that's actually reading the entire, parse percentage. And in a group setting, this is key, guys. If I was doing raids back in the day, this is key, because what this does for me is it's timing the encounter. Lets me know the enrage timer, right? That's why I use like add-ons like King Boss Mod. It'll actually give you the timer for the enrage timer. You're actually extrapolating all of this from 20 people, right? 20 people's numbers are listed on your parser at all times. So you're able to go ahead and calculate the exact amount of damage being pushed out before the enrage timer hits. This is what it means to be an elitist. This is what it means when you want to talk about hardcore. When you want to talk about elitist here, guys, okay, I have multiple builds just in this character alone. These are my macros. I have a shitload of flipping macros for everything. My category 1 already has 20. My category 2 has 20. My category 3 has 19. I have a mouse over program just for friggin' cleanses. It's crazy. That's what I'm saying. Elder Scrolls is so much a relief for that. You don't have all this stuff, man, that you have to have. So stop making it more than what it is. It's not like that. Okay? And don't have to be elite. You don't have to do that in this game. You want the better numbers. You want the better stats. You want progression. You can do that. You can do that in Elder Scrolls. You don't have to be, such a dick and be like, you're not hitting point something this percentage of this percentage. You need to switch out your macro. And no, you don't have this macro. You don't have this, utility. You're not playing. Whatever. It's just Elder Scrolls is not that hard compared to other MMOs, raid contents. It's just not. I'm sorry. All right, the devs put in really good content. They make it challenging, but that's what it is. It's challenging. Unless you spent days in a friggin' trial trying to farm shit in days. Don't talk to me about hard content. Whatever. You know, I'd love to see a lot of these older MMOers come in here and testify. Yeah, I was in this raid for 5 hours, and we got to the second or third boss, and we were cleaning up trash mobs. So, yeah, guys, no. I don't worry about that anymore. So it is what it is. But that's a parser. I would love to see something like this in Elder Scrolls. Not necessarily group parsing. The single parse that I've seen, it's kind of generic. I mean, it gives you the average. It'll give you this part. It'll give you the front end number. But it doesn't break down, you know, your base percentage prior to crit. I would love to see that. You know, what's my static number? What's my number prior to crit? You know, what am I hitting for per hit prior to crit? I'd love to see that. You know, get a little bit more accurate details in the parse. I would love to see it. I mean, I've seen the one. It's a little outdated. I mean, I'm sure it still works. I mean, it's just, you know, a reader. But that's what we call a simple meter. Rift has one too. This is not a version of a simple meter. This is Rift meter. This has a lot more breakdowns to it. So there it is, guys. That's a parser. So if anybody wants to hate the video, go ahead. People want to say I'm a jackass, I'm sure. I'm not trying to be elite. I'm not trying to be whatever. I'm just tired of console players who now have a target dummy since Homestead, you know, is claiming that they're parsing. Parsing. Whatever. Alright, guys. If you have any questions, comments, I'm sure I'm going to get comments. Post below. But, yeah, there it is. Said and done. And once again, always, thank you and have a nice day.